All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, Team Talk Tuesday. I don't know what we call these meetings. It is April 6th for those of you guys that are watching the recording. And I'm super excited about tonight. Going to go over some really quick announcements, real quick, just for things that are coming up. So if you want to jot down dates, or if you have your planner, it's just best to write everything down. Tomorrow night, and we also have this on the team page. So if you go to Dream Big, and this is how I like to find things. So if you go to our Dream Big Facebook page, and you go to the search bar, and I typed in save the date because I know that I made the post for save the date for April. And I just sorted it. Once you type in the search, you can sort by, and I sort by most recent. To know that, because I know that I post all that stuff and it's got all of the save the dates, and that's what I pulled up to go over some of these announcements. But tomorrow night, and really every single Wednesday night of every month, there is a Welcome to Plexus event. So this is a great place for you to plug your brand new Plexus ambassadors into. This first one, it's all about how to create long-term success with your health goals. So these Welcome to Plexuses are just great. So you get to hear from other leaders in our company. If you've never attended one yourself, I highly recommend that you guys attend so that you know what you're inviting your team members to, right? Like if you don't watch it and you don't know what it's all about, how can you get excited about it to invite them to it as well? But that's coming up tomorrow night. Do we know, Mandy, if we have a testimonial event Thursday night? Have you seen anything from them?
Well, I know that you and I did the one on the 25th, and I think we're pairing with some diamond teams. I think they're doing them every other Thursday. So I don't know.
So I don't know. So that's not official, but just know that if there's going to be a testimonial event, um, it'll be on a Thursday night. It's not every single Thursday night. So I can't promise you guys that for this Thursday, but we will do our best. And as soon as we get a calendar, and we don't have the dates for everything. So, but just know that for the future, Thursday nights are always one that you can, think about. And that's one you can invite potentials to. Again, if you've never been to one yourself, make sure that you go and you attend so you know what you're inviting people to, and it's going to build your belief. Thank you to those of you guys that did jump on the 25th when me and Mandy shared. It was really special, and just comforting to see some familiar faces on that. This Saturday on the 10th, we do have a coffee talk, and this one's going to be fun. It's going to be a senior gold takeover. So there's going to be several senior golds from Team Eichenhorst that are really going to be sharing their tips, and their heart and their journeys and stuff. And that's always really, really great and beneficial. And then since we're moving in, I'm just going to go all the way through to Tuesday. But on Monday, another thing that Plexus has is every Monday night, we have Monday motivations, and they're always different. So again, if you go to that save the date post that I posted, it'll tell you exactly what that is. And this only happens once a month. Once a month this happens. It happens to be on April 13th, so it's next Tuesday. So I want to tell you guys about this now. It will be at 6 o'clock Central, so 2 hours before we have our team talk. It's for silver ambassadors. So if you are a silver ambassador or you have silver ambassadors on your team, this is a call that is just for our silvers to help them with steps to go to gold. So that's great. Again, if you haven't gone to it, you might want to check it out. I know that that's a lot of like trainings for like a Tuesday night for back to back. If that's what you want, like I'm totally okay with you guys saying I can commit to one training, checking it out and seeing what it's all about, right? Like don't feel like you have to choose one or the other. Okay. We have so many resources available to us. This is our community. This is where we really get to form our relationships. And just get familiar with each other. And a lot of the times we have to do our relationship building off of our Zoom. but you guys get to see each other and get familiar, and we're just going to grow bigger and bigger from these Tuesday nights. There's those announcements for like meetings and stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit more about kind of success sprints in a little bit, but just remember too that sign 3 this month and you're getting a bonus $75. I just wanted to point that out. And we'll talk even more about that once I go into our goals portion. But Mandy, do you want to do mindset stuff first? I just put it on there. It doesn't mean that it has to go first.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll let you, and yes, I'm recording. Okay.
Sure. So a lot of you were on last week, and we talked about when we tell ourselves we're stuck or we feel stuck and it's getting into activity. This is going to be similar. This is something that we tell ourselves too, which is like, I don't want to bug people. Whether that is reaching out to people for the first time, following up with people, asking our new ambassadors to post about Plexus. And you guys, that is something that Rachel and I are going to touch on constantly, because we have seen the benefits of that. We like, my personal team tripled in just a few months because we all decided to be bold and ask our new ambassadors to post. We didn't talk about the business. We didn't talk about getting them a silver. We asked them to do us a favor and post. And there are so many examples, even on Dream Big, of first posts. You can search first post, but also we did like a little magic post. Oh, I got to do a drawing for that. But I want you guys to think about, there's what, 10 of us here? Yes. And we've all been with Plexus. We have ambassadors. Okay. So think about when you start to tell yourself that, like, I don't want to reach out to this person. I don't want her to ask her to do this. I don't want to follow up with somebody. They're going to think I'm annoying. They're going to like think this, or they're going to think that. And I don't want to be pushy, and I don't want to be salesy, and they don't want a business. So I'm not going to ask them to post. Think about where you would be if someone wasn't bold enough to do that for you, to ask you to post, or to ask you to share your experience, or to ask you to watch a video, or to try the products. Think about how long you waited. I know some people jump in right away. I wasn't one of those people. I know Rachel wasn't one of those people. And it was that level of follow-up that, I mean, I waited like 8 months, and Rachel and I talked here and there, and she gave me information. I looked at it. I'm like, no, yes, no, yeah. And finally I ordered. Well, what if she had never posted? Like, what if I had never seen that? What if she had never told me about the potential? What if I could still be sitting in my little apartment in Seattle, lonely, bored, massive panic attacks several times a week, unmarried, unstepmommed, my life changed because Rachel was committing to sharing her story, following up with me, giving me the information. And I just feel like we have to remind ourselves that we not only do we all have the potential to be 6-figure earners, whatever it is that we want to be, but even if we don't want to be that, like, I didn't even think that was possible. That wasn't even my goal. $350 a month was my goal. You could be that for somebody else. Like, you could give someone else that opportunity. Maybe someone else right now is about to lose their home, or they're fighting with their spouse about, finances, and they're on the brink of divorce. I mean, that's like one of the number one reasons for divorce. There's so many reasons why we need to like get out of ourselves and in our own heads and think about how we can help other people. And so when you're telling yourself those things, like, flip it and say, like, I can provide solutions. I build relationships. I provide opportunities. Use these affirmations, write them down, tell yourself really positive things. And when you feel yourself starting to like write those stories in your head of like, oh, she doesn't want the business, so he's not gonna, or she's not gonna post for me, just ask them and give them the opportunity to say yes or no. I mean, don't deprive them of that opportunity before they're even aware of it. Like, you would be shocked at how many people might say yes. Is Karen on here? No, I don't, or not Carrie. Is it Karen or Carrie? I don't remember. I think it's Carrie, Rachel, who was like afraid to talk to her team that had been using Plexus and loving it. And now she is, and they're like doing really well, right? That's a really good example. So many of my up and coming leaders, my leaders now that were up and coming last summer were because I asked them to post. And so don't let yourself get trapped in that storytelling, that garbage, because you have an opportunity. And when you're struggling with that belief, you have an opportunity to provide an opportunity to people. When you're struggling in that belief, look at diamond documentaries, look at our product data sheets. Like, I don't even like data, but those data sheets are unbelievable. Read testimonies, talk to your upline, look on team pages, look at all the people doing the things and achieving goals that they never thought possible, and really commit to building your belief a few times a week. Like, even if you're watching 2 diamond documentaries, just so that you know and you're reminded that this isn't just about us, it's about other people. So Rachel, that's really all I had to say about that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think it's so true. I think that we really get in our head a lot of the time. And it's so much, I mean, not only just in Plexus, just with anything in general. Like, I even, my family's in town, and I told my sister, she was kind of struggling with something, and she was starting to prejudge and like assume the outcome of a situation that hadn't even happened yet. And I was like, you don't know that. Like, you don't know what's going to what's going to come unless you actually go out there and do it. So why would you talk yourself out of doing something when you don't even know the outcome? I talk to my girls about it all the time too. They will start stressing about a test or gymnastics or something. Like, why are you worrying about the outcome when you haven't even done the action yet? Like, stop it. Like, stop it. And even some of my notes, like I have like, I don't know how this really applies, but it just keeps coming up to me as we're talking. But like, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? Like, you have to be the change. So like, if you're stuck in your mindset and you just keep going, on this hamster wheel, like Carrie, like what Mandy was saying, like if Carrie never did it, she wouldn't have had the outcome that she's having right now, right? Like, she could have stayed and done nothing and worried about it, or she could be the change, So like, let's just keep that in mind, that if you're going along every month and you're not reaching your goals, like, what is it like? Have you made changes, right? Have you been the change? Have you tried working on your mindset? Have you done all these things? So before I get real too far into setting goals and going over the weekly accountability sheet, I do just want to read out some of our victories for those of you guys who are watching the replay and the recording, because you can't see the chat. But I have, Mandy said, so I asked everybody to share at least one victory in March so that we could give everybody a shout out and recognition where recognition is due, because I think that that is so, so important. And I don't want anybody to ever feel bad for giving themselves a shout out. Like, it's okay to celebrate yourself. And it's okay also for you to like ask somebody for some recognition, because sometimes we just miss it, And I think that I've had people be like, no, I don't need it. And I was like, no, I know what it feels like. I mean, for me, it's like, I don't need it, but I know that it is important, right? Especially in something that what we're doing here, I think that we should be recognized. And I think that we should take no shame in, not that we're like, everybody look at me, but that's just my opinion on it. So I'm going to share these with you. Mandy says that my team points grew and we had some people hit silver and gold. So those are big time achievements in the month of March. Mandy did not give herself a shout out. She signed up 10 level ones. No, 13. How many level ones did you sign up in March? She signed up a lot. So
9.
She signed up 9. Listen to her, 9. Heather Smith, There she is, record for me of adding 9 level 1s and 2 level 2 ambassadors, and it was a great month. Heather also ranked gold. Mandy also wrote that, oh, she did put it in the chat. She achieved her success sprint points and added 9 ambassadors, and she attended trainings. Let's see, Karen says she re-ranked to senior gold and her team signed 25 people. That is amazing. Where'd she go? I think she had to hop off. Karen, the other Karen who is on here, she had 2 friends join her, which I think is huge. Luann, her team's rocking and rolling. She signed 4 level 1s in the month of March and had 4 level 2s. Let's see if anybody else. Okay, we got it. That's about all that we have right now. I know that there are some other successes. So fun to shout out March and just get you guys recognized. I know that there's so much that I miss. I really do. And I hate it when I miss it, but that doesn't mean that it's not going unnoticed, because I think that our team is absolutely incredible and amazing. So my watch is dead, so I can't look at the time. 8:20. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to goal setting. Now I'm going to ask you guys I want you guys to be super, super honest, and it's okay to be honest, but how many of you guys like write your goals down at the beginning of every month and write specific goals? Not everybody? Okay. It's okay. I think that writing goals down takes skill set, especially if you've never done it before. And I think sometimes it's hard with network marketing because so much of what we do is really out of our control, right? A lot of it, sometimes it's on the timing of other people. So you can set these big goals and you can work your tail off and you cannot achieve it, right? And so there's so much that we can control and there's so much that we can't control. But I still believe that if you're not going to write your goals down, you really don't know where you're going. And so it's good to get into the habit of setting goals. I think that having like long-term long-term, I don't know the word that I'm trying to use, but like long-term goals and then breaking it up into like smaller pieces and then breaking it down to the month. And if you like to be super ambitious, you can break it down to the week. That's that I don't do that. That puts too much pressure on me because life also happens, right? We have to be flexible with our goals. We have to be kind to ourselves. And I think that also as we're setting goals, as long as you have that long-term vision, then you do have that flexibility to where if something catastrophic happens, that just because you couldn't reach your goals this month doesn't mean that you have to throw everything out the window, right? Like life happens. So I think one thing that is really important, and we kind of touched upon this last week, how I asked you guys to put in the comments, like, what is your, I don't even remember the question I asked, but kind of like, what was your, like, what do you want to get out of this business, right? Kind of starting that thought process of like your why. So I'm not saying that for every month you write down your why and everything, but I think that what would be really, really cool and really beneficial is think of what you want your goal to be for this month, for the month of April. And then think about what that would mean to you to reach that goal for this month, right? Like, let me see, I have it right here. So like, and even going as far as like imagining the feeling of how you're gonna feel when you reach that goal, right? So, but if you don't know what you want your goal to be for that month, you're not even gonna be able to have these thoughts and these emotions and these feelings. So make it a very specific goal. For some people, it literally might just be to get their products paid for, okay? Well, first of all, instead of saying, I wanna get my products paid for, how much do your products cost you? Right? Like you have to actually know, like don't make a roundabout number. Like how much do your products cost you? And then you have to, then that's your goal. I want to make $163, right? I don't know what it is. Once you pay for shipping and tax and all of those things, know what your actual goal is so that you can start making steps backwards. But then, like, how is that gonna make you feel? Right? Like, for some, it just might be like, it's gonna allow me to continue taking these products. I'm gonna feel relieved, right? I'm gonna feel less burdened because I don't have to find it in my budget to pay for these products. Like, I'm talking about like crazy, crazy specific. Um, so maybe your goal is bigger than that, right? Maybe you do have a goal of hitting a certain rank and you know exactly what um, that bonus is going to be. And then you can kind of, do the math to find out, pay points and that kind of stuff. What is that going to help you with your finances? Write that down. Write down what it's going to mean for you. Um, Maybe you hitting a certain goal this particular month is just going to mean that you are a leader developer. Maybe you have a team under you and you want to help. Make sure you write it down, 3 people go silver. Well, what does that mean? That means that you are helping to develop leaders. Um, are you helping to pay your family's mortgage? Are you paying off debt? Like, what specific thing is you reaching this month's goal going to help you achieve? Okay. Um, don't make umbrella statements also. Like, be very specific. Write your goal down and then write down what that's going to mean to you by achieving that goal, right? This may not be a rank month. This may not be a month where you are going to be ranking. So set that goal. Maybe you want to grow by 50 points. Maybe you want to grow by 6 people. Whatever it is that you want to do it, do it. I want to say though, this other thing is make sure that it also brings a little bit discomfort to you, right? We talked about this last week. Like, when you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone and when you're not stretching yourself, your brain really doesn't learn anything new. Like, you can't move forward in your learning and your thinking and all that kind of stuff. So your goal should not be like, let's just say this. We all know you can be in conversations and maybe last month you talked to some people where you're like, they didn't sign up last month, but I know that they're going to sign up this month. And so you're like, I've got 3 people I'm talking to. I'm going to set my goal to 3. That might be a really, really easy goal. So those may be shoo-ins. So maybe it's 6. I'm going to sign up 6 people, right? So just get really, really, really specific with your goal and what it's going to mean to you, and share that with somebody. Like, don't just and don't just like, oh, okay, I'll do this and then not do it, right? We have to actually do it, because if we don't have a plan, how do you know where to go with that plan, right? It's hard when you say, I mean, I used to say my long-term goal was emerald, right? Like, once I finally figured out that I wanted to do the business, took me a while. But once I figured it out, I used to just say, I just want to be emerald. Well, I didn't have a time frame on that, because you can't go from gold to emerald. You have to go from gold to senior gold to ruby to senior ruby and then to emerald. So it was my long-term dream and goal, and I couldn't wait to get there, but I couldn't map that out. But I could map out from gold to senior gold, and it was just one step at a time. And even before I was gold, guys, even before I wanted a business, I was writing my goals down, because I knew, I was like, I need to get my products for free. Y'all, I just said y'all. I type it, but I don't usually say it. Um, I I figured out exactly how much PV I needed to get enough money to pay for my products. And so I had a plan, right? So I didn't want the business, but I was like, I want to get my products for free. It's going to cost me this much for triplex. So I need this much PV. Well, how do I get that PV? And I did the math, and I set out a goal and I achieved it. And then I was like, well, I want to add X factor to my order. Well, it's going to cost me this much. Now I want my family on the products. It's going to cost me this. And so I just went from there. So you can put this however you want for whatever is going to help you reach your goals, is what I'm trying to say. And you guys, the other thing too is I want another reason why writing your why down, but then also writing down like what your goal is for the month is because you are going to hit stumbling blocks this month. Like it's going to happen. Like over and over and over again, you're going to hit stumbling blocks. Things are going to pop up. People are going to tell you no. People are going to ignore you. Somebody's going to turn their order off. Something might happen. Your car might get a flat tire, and I don't know, like stuff is going to happen, right? And when you write it down, you remember what you're working for, right? Because it happens. Like life happens, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean that you can't still work your business, right? Um, and then also, let's see what else. I have lots of notes here. Um, I mean, even little things like everybody has different goals, but and I want to encourage you. I see a lot of like a lot of you guys do have like bigger teams, um, but you can even share this with your teams. Like talk to them and ask them because I mean, they they might just want something this month to go out like on a date night, right? Like they can't go on a date night and an extra $50 or an extra $100 allows them to go out on a date, right? Like we don't have to have team members who want to become a jewel to be able to help them and help them set goals and see what this can do for them. Um, so again, just write it down. I think that's so important. Um, and then once you have that written down, here's another thing too. I think anytime that Plexus does an incentive, your goal should be to earn that incentive. So right now we have success sprints. It's a 3-month process and sometimes it's a little hard to figure out points and you're like, just give me the tracker, right? But this month they're giving us $75 extra for signing 3 people. So bare minimum, that should be your goal is to help 3 people to get a bonus $75. And if you're already silver, you're actually getting about $180 once it's all said and done for helping 3 people this month. So don't leave money on the table, right? Like if you're like, I don't even know where to start with my goals. Well, Plexus already showed us like 3 people, like that's bare minimum. And so as you're writing your goals down, like actually write down, like you can either put boxes. I used to do boxes, or you can do like draw your 3 lines so that when you're looking at your goals, when you sign somebody, you can write it in and then you can write it in and write it in. And then I would say commit to, so when you have at least your 3 people, and if you're thinking, 3 people is easy, set your goal a little bit higher. It's okay to not hit your goal and to fall short, right? Like it's okay. So write your lines of how many people that you are wanting to help. And then how many are you going to commit to going silver? And if your first thought is, I don't know how to get people to silver, like we're going to stop thinking that way and we're just going to decide that this is what we do, right? I've got material to share with you guys. Last week, again, we talked about the +1, right? Like just how like it's just what people do. They just bring people on, right? Everybody starts with a friend. Who's your friend? You know, there's some other really good verbiage that we have that you can leave as a voice message that we can give. I know I can find that. But just make the decision, and kind of like what Mandy was saying, like you're not bothering people. And if we don't tell our people, like so many times I feel like we have conversations with people that join us and we're like, oh, they would never want the business. Like I can just tell by our conversation, like they want nothing to do with this. And so we don't even give them the opportunity. I've shared this story a million times. But Amanda McMaster. I shared Plexus with her for 6 months, and she didn't join me for 6 months because I was solely focused on the products. And she was like, I can't afford them. I can't afford them. So I'm like, she can't afford them. Why would I, in my mind, I'm thinking, why would I ever talk to her about the business, right? She can't even afford the products. Why would I, again, you guys, learn from my mistakes, right? And when she joined though, I did share the compensation plan with her. And I did show her because I had it backwards in my mind. But what she said to me is, why didn't you tell me this 6 months ago that I could be making money for my family? And I was like, I prejudged. I thought she was blowing me off, like telling me like I don't have the money, and it was her nice way of telling me when I should have been telling her about the business all along, right? So when we don't take that away from somebody is basically what I'm saying. Don't take that away from somebody. Don't assume. Share it with everybody and ask them. And then if they still are like no 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 no, ask them for referrals, right? Like ask them for yes, thank you, Mandy. Amanda McMaster is now an Emerald. I forgot to share that. If you don't know, she's an Emerald. She was my first Emerald on my team. So don't prejudge. Don't assume that people don't want to help other people, and just have in your mind that this is what we do. This is what I do. Um, I create silvers, right? I help people go silver. And you're going to fail along the way, right? Like how many times do we talk about failing forward? Somebody, you know, somebody who joined me 7 years ago, if they joined me today, probably would have a different experience. And that's okay. I would not be where I am today if I didn't continue to fail over and over and over again. And part of that comes from setting goals every month. If I didn't have a plan, if I didn't know the steps that I needed to take, oh, hi, Jet. Sweet boy. Oh, and here comes Graham. It's just a family affair tonight. But if I didn't set goals and have a plan every single month, I wouldn't have even had opportunities to fail, to get better, and to learn. And I'll tell you what, there were so many times that I set goals and I didn't hit them. Like right now, success sprints. My goal was to sweep the contest and earn every single prize. There's been no announcement yet for me because I'm still waiting on commissions to close to see if I've achieved that or not. And it's there is still a very good chance that I'm going to fall short by like one person, you guys. I could be one person away from $1,500. And that sucks. But I worked with my team. Everything has been great this last month. We had a fantastic month, and so it's okay to fall short of your goals if you know that you're putting, because what is it? Shoot for the moon. And Andrea, help me. Come on. Say it. Help me. Unmute.
Okay. Sorry. I'm using my phone today, not my computer. I believe it's shoot for the moon, and if you fall or fail, you'll fall amongst the stars.
Yes.
Or you'll be amongst the stars.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. So basically, like, set your goals to make it uncomfortable for you, and you might not hit them that month. And that's okay, because you're going to learn and you're going to look back and you're going to be like, did I do everything that I could do this month? And sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is yes. You did everything that you could do and you still fall short. Or then you can be like, actually, kind of slacked on that one. And you learn from that. But again, if you're not writing your goals down, you have no clue where you're even, what you're shooting for. And I will say too, like when it comes to goal setting, if you're really still struggling and you're going, okay, this is great, Rachel, but I still don't really know what to do. Like if you need help mapping especially as you get further up in the ranks, like as your team starts growing and you're starting to look at like, How many people do I need to get this far? How many more people do I need to jump from this rank to this rank? And you need to like map out your goals, and you need help with the numbers. Mandy used to not be good with numbers. And she'd be like, Rachel, can you just do this for me and tell me how many people I need? You know, and that's great. Like, that's great. Like, do not, like, I think that's another thing too that I always want to like overly share is that number one, like, you're not bothering us. We're never too busy. Schedules, it just might be that schedules aren't matching up, but we're here for you guys. And it's okay for you to say, I actually don't know how to do that. Or I don't know how to find this in my virtual office. And maybe you feel like I should know this. And if I say I don't know this, then I'm going to be exposed that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to look like an idiot. Like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. Like, it's okay. Like, you can ask those questions because that's the only way that you're going to learn. So if you're listening to this training, you're going, okay, I still need more. Like, ask for that help, right? That's what we're here for. When you ask for the help and you learn how to set your own goals, you now have something to take back to your team, right? Like, and you also, here's the thing, if you have a team, you don't have to wait to grab your team and do a little training for them, right? Like, if you're like, I have this small team, they don't feel comfortable yet going to a bigger group, or you say, I want them to hear from me. Like, I've learned this from Rachel. I've learned this from Mandy. I've learned this from Melissa. I've learned this from this leader. But I want my team to hear it from me because I want to be the leader. Like, I want to be the one that teaches them these things. I want to step outside my comfort zone. I'm going to have a Zoom for my team. Do it. You don't have to wait for us. But coming to these meetings and learning how to do these things yourself is the first step that it takes so that you can actually teach them. And I would say, like, as you're setting your goals, like, especially as you start growing a team, you have to be the one personally sponsoring first, right? Like, you can't ask your team to go silver if you don't even know how to do that yourself, right? Like, if you don't know how to sign up 3 people, how can you help your team sign up 3 people? So your number one goal should always be personal sponsoring. Then you can say, okay, once I set my goal of my own personal goal of how many level 1s I want to sign, now I can set a goal for I want to help develop these people. You can't develop people if you don't have people, right? Like, if you don't have level 1s, you can't grow a team. I'm looking at my notes. But it's on my graphic that we were going to talk about, the weekly accountability sheet. Okay, so when you write your goals down for the month and you write what it's going to mean to you for you to achieve it for this month, and then you have your personal goal of how many level 1s that you want to sign. And guys, okay, here's another thing that I want to say too. Customers aren't bad. If you're talking to somebody and they're not ready to become an ambassador, that doesn't mean that they're saying no to Plexus, okay? They may not be ready for 3 or more products, or they may not be ready for a welcome pack, even though we know that's the best price for them, right? They just might not be ready for that. If you can't find a product that will help meet some of their goals, offer them a sample. We can offer people samples. It's all part of the send, share, invite, right? And if it really comes down to it, and they do just want Slim to start, let them order Slim, right? It's not lost just because they don't want a welcome. Mandy, let me use Mandy for example. She actually came to me for the business. And she said no. She said no, do not want the business. And we talked for quite a while back and forth. And so the whole time it was always focused on the business, always on the business, always on the business. She said no. And my first thought was like, dang it, I lost her. That was my first thought, was like, just lost an ambassador. And then I was like, whoa, 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 we haven't even talked about the products yet. And I was like, Mandy, you need these products though. Like, forget the business. Don't even think about the business. You need these products. And so, and she signed up, actually, she was like, okay, I'm going to sign up as a customer. And then she bought a 7-day trial pack. I was like, what? Do you remember that, Mandy?
Because you had a 7-day challenge going on. And I was like, oh, I have to take selfies and do all these stupid things I don't want to do. Like, seriously, that was my attitude.
But I didn't invite her to the 7-day challenge because she had already told me she was going to order as a customer. But then I made one more post on Facebook, last call, and she ordered the 7-day trial. And at first I was like, no, what are you doing? You said you were going to order as a customer. Like, don't order 7 days. But if she had, like, great, right? Like if I mean, it's getting stuff. I mean, it was like 2 days later and she ordered her combo, whatever, and then she signed up. Anyways. But my point is, just because somebody isn't ready to sign as an ambassador or somebody doesn't want to join you for the business, if you present the business to them first, you always have something to fall back on, and it's customers are not bad. I got my products paid for and for free on customers alone. When I was going for my first goal, it was based on my product volume. And I even looked back on Melissa's old post from like 2014. My PV was like over 2,500 PV. Like, it was crazy consistently. Learned my lesson though. True residual income definitely comes from, growing your team, and that, you guys have heard my story. I talk about it all the time. But anyways, customers are not bad. And we're just always trying to find solutions for people, right? Like, be a problem solver. What is it that they need? Like, sometimes you have to step back and be like, I know that I need ambassadors, but what is best for this person? So I don't know why I went off on a tangent on that for your goals, but I'm looking at my notes. Oh yeah. Okay. So when you have your goals, now how are you going to make sure that you are actually doing the activities to help you reach those goals? I'm going to try to get through this really fast so that we can save some time for Q&A. But if you have not printed off the daily activity sheet, okay, I highly recommend you do this. Now, this is not like the be all end all. If you don't do this, you're not going to be successful type of a thing. But if you're like, just tell me what to do, right? If you're like, just tell me what to do, I need to see something that I can check off a list. This is a really, really, really great start to just make sure that you're doing things. Because I'll tell you what, when I first started Plexus, my kids were little. I did not have like blocks of time to sit down and like just work. And I could only do things here and there. And I didn't have one of these at all, but I had notebooks and I was always writing stuff down, making sure I did stuff, making my own little charts. It just keeps you on task. So especially if you're really, really busy and you only have 15 minutes, like, what can you do? Sending messages is always the best thing to do if you have 15 minutes, right? Sending messages, following up, talking to people. You always say like the most successful people in Plexus, you'll see that they're posting on Facebook or on social media every single day. For some people, every single day can be very scary for them. So it's like, set a goal of 4 times a day, right? Like, whatever you can do, and you work up from there. So you have your Plexus post, you have follow-up, you have reach outs, you have send, share, invite, you have all the things just to help keep you on track. I mean, the worksheet speaks for itself. I'm going to read this because, again, those watching the recording can't read this, but I love what Mandy said. Like, right now, like, our discounts are so good that financially speaking, it makes sense for people to join as ambassadors, but it's not always a good fit for everyone. So you need to make sure that you ask what their hesitation is when they say no about being an ambassador. Sometimes it's a misunderstanding of about what membership entails, and sometimes they just don't want to be an ambassador. For some reason, it's a lot easier to lose a customer than it is an ambassador. But ultimately, it's really like, talk to them, ask them the questions. If you aren't 100% confident yet, or even when you are confident, start a 3-way chat. Last year, I asked Melissa Eichenhorst if she would do a 3-way chat with me. And at that time, I was still Emerald. But as an Emerald ambassador, I was still asking for 3-way chats with my Diamond upline. Like you never outgrow that because it's third-party validation, right? So if you're just going, oh, I'm just not really sure what the best thing is for this person, let me pull somebody in. Or maybe it's like, oh my gosh, this person has so much potential. This person has so much potential, and I'm just not able to get them off the fence. I need that third-party validation, right? Use the tools, use the resources, use the team page to do searches. Like, you guys are super smart and super capable of figuring it out, right? And failing forward. But again, if you're not setting your goals at the beginning of each month, you're just going to be flailing around, messaging here and there. And like, it is okay to work this in the nooks and crannies, right? Like, everybody's time availability to put into their business is different. Everybody's schedules are different. Everybody's time commitment is different. Everybody's goals are different. But if you don't know what you're even working for, then it makes it really hard to even stay on task or do the things that you need to do to move your business forward. So, and I used to set goals too. Like, again, I started in April of 2014, and by October, so April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months into my business, I was a silver ambassador. One of the incentives was an iPad incentive. And I just wanted to earn the iPad. I did not, at that time, I did not have a goal of going gold. But I was like, what's the criteria to earn this iPad? And I did it. I still have that iPad to this day. But I wrote it down. Like, I wrote down what I needed to do to achieve that. Later I learned that my activity to try and earn the iPad was helping to grow my business. Like I said, it took me a while to figure it out, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. But just having a clear written goal should definitely take you out of your comfort zone and stretch you. And like I said at the beginning, sometimes you're going to hit your goals and sometimes you're not. So 8 minutes. We have 8 minutes for Q&A. Does anybody have any questions on what we shared tonight? Yes, Luann has a question.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been hearing for several days now about how you guys are asking your new ambassadors to post. Are you suggesting that in your initial welcome letter that you send to them? Are you texting them? Are you giving them an idea about what to post? Are you asking them to post it for you because you want their help in building your business? I feel like I missed something along the way here on how to do that.
Does anybody want to share? I know Mandy has been successful with that. I know Heather, you recently, no, you've helped. Heather's going, no, but you've gotten it was your sister-in-law to silver. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, I'll use an example. I have done it 3 different ways this month, um, for people that I signed last month. So one was in an email, one was in a text, and one was on Facebook Messenger. One of them already signed up. Um, one of them has not signed up yet. Actually, she's supposed to sign up tonight. She said she was going to do it tonight. So I need to make sure that she's doing it. But I've already told her, I've already planted the seed. I have not asked her specifically, but I have said, I like everybody that joins with a friend. So let's make sure that we're thinking about who it is. Um, there is another message that you can share that I can give you where you can voice message people. Um, Mandy, you've had people just with that, not the magic post, but what did you do?
You could do it with a magic post or a variation that included Disney. And I think I put this on Dream Big, but I put it in our chats too, I think. But basically you can say, hey, it would like really help me out if you would be open to posting something for me. It's really fun. It starts conversations. I'll do all the work. Are you open to doing that? Or something that most people do when they join me is grab a friend because they have better success. If I gave you like a super fun post, would you be willing to post it? And they say
Okay.
yes, or what is it? Then you give them a post. And then I say, okay, and this is what you're going to do. You're going to say to anyone that comments on your post, I'll send you a message or details coming, and then fire up that group chat. And it's not going to work with everybody. And some people are going to say no, but some people are going to say yes. And some people that say yes, their friends are going to say yes. And it duplicates really, really quickly. So.
Okay, thanks. That's what I wanted to hear.
And Luann, it's one of those things where you just do it and you do it and you do it every single time. The more that
Okay.
you do it, the more natural it's going to become. It is going to become just what you do. And like Mandy said, some people are going to do it and some people aren't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
Okay.
so there's no right or wrong. There's a lot of different approaches. And I mean, you may even have somebody that you're like, I really, really, really want them to work this business. Like I don't want to just have them throw out a post. Like I want to have that conversation with them. And I've had people like that to where I'm like, man, they need to know about this opportunity. And that's when I have a completely different conversation. But that's not every single person. You know what I mean? That's really kind of reserved for just a few. But from a standpoint of like helping everybody. And here's the thing too that I want to say. I think so often, I'll get through this real quick and then unless somebody has another question, but everybody wants like that one person, right? That's going to just latch onto this business and they're going to run with it and they're going to figure everything out and they're not going to need you. And, you want that influential person. But I've said it before, like, I wasn't that person. Like I was not that sought after, super like, oh, like if I could get somebody that was just like super personable and had so much influence and had all of these Instagram followers or all of these things, or, that like perfect team player that we have in our head, right? That perfect business builder. Nobody would have been asking me to do Plexus with them. Like nobody. I would not have been that person. And I think that it just takes us like really like believing in people, um, offering them good support, giving them opportunities, give them the opportunity to tell you no, right? Like what we said at the very beginning, like give them the opportunity to say no. But if you never ask them, and the way that you ask at the beginning may not be good. You might not be good at it at the beginning, and that's okay. You can, I mean, Bob Heilig talks about that. Like the reason why you're not like in this, at first I was like, ooh, that's kind of harsh. But he says the reason why you're not where you want to be is because you're not good enough yet. Meaning that you don't have the skills yet. You haven't you haven't had the time yet. You haven't had those experiences yet. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get them. But if you don't, like I said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Like you have to be willing to do the uncomfortable things, to do something where you're like, I've never done this before, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to see what happens. And I might get shot down. And so then I'm going to have to figure out how to do it better next time. You know, so it's just a matter of doing it and like searching and type in verbiage and bug me about it. Rachel, you told me that you were going to give us this verbiage and I don't see it yet. Where is it? Like sometimes I need reminding, right? Like, so totally lost what I was going to say there, but we have like, what is that time, right? Like 1 minute. So I don't want to keep you guys too long, but definitely just keep asking questions, set those goals. You're not bothering people. What else can I say as a recap on tonight's meeting? Have a plan of what you want to do and do everything that you can do to reach your goals for this month, knowing that it's going to set you up for your goals next month and your long-term eventual goal, and just fail forward. But this is the exciting time where things really start picking up. And sometimes you just have to do things without thinking. That's really what me and Mandy did last year, is we just did things without thinking and we'll figure it out. But we'd rather be in activity than not in no activity. Nothing can happen if you don't do anything. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. And make sure you share this with your teams. And again, take what you're learning here and you can go teach your teams. Like that's duplication too. So love you guys. You guys are awesome. And I know that we're going to have a fantastic March and we're going to have like even bigger celebrations at April. We're in April. Fantastic April. Have a bigger celebration at the end of the month and just keep rolling on through the summer. So see you guys later.